Uh-oh.
The most outrageous science fiction comedy of the summer is here.
What do you call this, Wawa?
My Science Project.
Hey, I seen lights like this at Ozzy Osbourne concert. What's he saying?
He's going to kick our...
What are we gonna do?
About 1 to 5 with good behavior.
It's totally out of control. My Science Project.
Think of the fun.
Rated PG. Now playing in a theater near you.
Hey, guess what? Everybody listening, if you go to our YouTube channel right now and you go to the latest video of this episode, you're gonna see a surprise. Well, it's actually not a surprise because it's in the thumbnail. It's Dustin's back!
Whoa, man. Whoa. Just gotta stretch it out. It feels, it's like getting back in the gym. It's like getting back.
You need some motivational music, thunder in your heart.
It's so good to be back. Here, Zach. It's good to be back with Zach. My understanding, I haven't really been keeping up with the show. I understand that you pivoted and now it's just a political show.
Yes, totally.
So
Totally.
that's why I'm back. I'm really excited.
It's religious and political. It's
okay.
One, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm ready to talk about why God hates Tylenol for as many hours as needed. Because one thing, I've been away, folks. I don't know if you're new to the show. I used to be involved in this show, and I'm back. And Zach asked me back for My Science Project, which is a movie that used to be very big in my Rolodex of movies, and now rewatched it and ready to talk about it.
I'm ready to talk about it with you too. It's quote unquote the funniest movie of the year from 1985.
Funniest sci-fi movie of the year.
Sorry, thanks for the clarification.
Because it's not like any other science fiction movies came out in 1985.
No, not really.
So there's just that one. So of course it makes sense if it's going to be the only one outside of Back to the Future, Real Genius, Weird Science, and probably 10 others.
Yeah, and
excited to talk about.
On the heels of Manhattan Project, I think that came out the following year. I'm literally crying tears of joy inside right now because having Dustin back on the show is my Christmas wish list. It's my birthday wish list. What do you want for your birthday, Zach? I want Dustin back on the show. He's not coming back.
Oh, no.
So fine, I'll get his brother Lance on instead. But guess what? I have both of them on. I got both D and L on the DL, and Dustin and Lance Rubin, who's been on the show a couple times as well. Lance, so happy to have you back, brother from another mother.
Thank you so much, Zach. It's always such a delight to be here, and I always end up watching or rewatching a movie that it's very delightful to revisit, whether I like the movie or not,
Yeah, I think we're going to get into all that in a minute. I just want to remind everybody, if you're listening to this, go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and you can see the 3 stages of what it's like to grow a beard. I literally have the beginning stages. Lance has the middle stages, which are very well groomed, and Dustin has full beard going on.
It's not as tapered as I'd like it to be, or as tame, but I'm letting it go.
I'm liking it.
Go.
If this was McDonald's, I'm loving it. But Lance, I think, has to be well groomed because he's doing a lot of appearances right now. He's got a brand new book out. It's called Zed Moonstein Makes a Friend.
Yeah.
It's brand new, just came out about a month ago, I want to say.
Yeah. Almost exactly a month ago. It was August 26th.
That's how I roll. I like to be precise as possible. And it just came out. It's a great book for middle schoolers. It's a great read. My son Bodhi, who's now 11, he's literally in middle school. He loves it, which is a shock to me because I thought most kids hate middle school. It's a very awkward time for teens or tweens, I guess you could say. And it's a really awesome read. The basic synopsis. Well, Lance, how would you synopsize your book?
Yeah, you're doing a great job so far, and I think it is a great read for middle schoolers and even a little bit younger. It's confusing because the middle grade category of books is technically for 8 to 12-year-olds.
Yes.
So like starting in 4th grade, you could probably really enjoy this book, which is about Zed Moonstein. He is a 6th grader. It's January of 6th grade year, so he's like just started middle school a few months ago, and his best friend since elementary school, Rishti, is kind of growing apart from him. She's got a new friend, Kaz, who Zed feels is cooler than him. He's feeling very lonely. And Zed happens to live in a town called Monotown, which is owned by Monolith, this huge tech company. Fictional, but in this world, this is the hugest tech company, and it owns his town. And that means everyone in town gets early access to all these apps and platforms. And Zed gets even more access because his mom works for Monolith's marketing department. And so he hacks into her server, downloads the beta version of this brand new app called Mono Friend that's a best friend, essentially an AI chatbot, although I'd started writing this years ago before that was a thing. And so,
wow.
But that's our equivalent now. He downloads this app. At first it's amazing, and then it quickly goes sideways and is horrific. And it's a funny, scary book that I think will be very entertaining for all kids, and has been entertaining for kids so far who have read it, and also get some thinking about this tech-saturated world we live in.
Yeah, I always love when books deal with topics that can be pretty heavy and serious, but written in a way that it's younger people can understand it. So maybe it's a little more palatable for older people to read and go, okay, this is serious, but I'm not feeling the heaviness of the world right now.
Totally. And that is my hope for the book. Earlier drafts, I think, leaned more on the heavy side, especially because I was writing early drafts during lockdown.
Oh, wow. So this goes all the way back to 2000.
It does. It
2020.
really does. Because
Wow.
I ended up writing other books like the Monster Club books that I've talked about here, where I helped Darren Aronofsky and his producing partner, Ari Handel, write these middle grade books. The Monster Club books, those kind of I was writing at the same time. So Zed Moonstein went on the back burner. And then, right around early 2023, ChatGPT did come out. And I was like, oh my God, this tech is really happening. I have to finish writing this book. I have to do my rewrites.
Because they're listening to our thoughts.
Yes. And it was around then when Dustin read a draft, and he had some very helpful notes that really changed a big element of the book, which is that originally Zed, as I said, he hacked onto his mom's server. Originally, his mom kind of gave him the app and was like, here, try this. And there was much more tension to be had. Dustin was like, I think he should try and steal it from his mom without her knowing. And I was like, you're right. And it was like a big solve for me in getting the book to a better place. So thank you, Dustin.
I like that. And Dustin, Dustin is helpful in so many ways. Helped me with something to talk about down the road as well. But I love that element, that tension, because let's be honest, most middle schoolers, there's a lot going on when you're
so much
puberty, hormones, all that stuff. And I literally see it every day with our son, and and you see it because you've got two.
Not your son.
boys.
I don't see your son, but I see my son.
He does. I've told Bodhi we have a camera in his room, so Lance is literally studying him.
There's the Bodhi feed, which is helpful for me to keep track of him and his adolescence, but also my own son.
I do remember the original draft for this book. It was called Deadly Friend. It was directed by Wes Craven, and you were, going that route, a little darker. You said,
yes,
Dustin, right?
Yes,
the original.
yes,
Did you ever see Deadly Friend back in the day, Dustin?
Some dates excite you.
Hi.
Some dates thrill you. But a date with Samantha will kill you. From Wes Craven, the director of Nightmare on Elm Street, comes Deadly Friend.
Starts Friday at a theater near you. Consult local listings.
I've never heard of that movie. That's a real Wes Craven movie?
Oh, God, yeah. You guys got to see that. Well, there's an infamous GIF online of the mom from, or Mrs. Fratelli from Goonies, getting a basketball. Her head explodes when a basketball's thrown on her head by, what's her face, who played the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the Christy Swanson. It was Christy Swanson. I think Patrick Labrador's brother, Matthew Labrador, I believe, is the original, was the co-star in that from Little House on the Prairie fame. But yeah, Wes Craven directed it. It's Deadly Friend. Y'all got to check it out because worth watching, especially around Halloween. And this episode's dropping in October. There will be some costumes talked about at the end of this episode in regards to something from 1985. But I think everybody needs to go out and get this book. Sincerely, if you don't have kids, get it for yourself. It's just a light read for dark times. And if you don't have kids, get the book, then give it to a kid. Walk down the street, walk by a little kid and say, "Hey kid, you want a book?" And then a little kid will go,
"That's my dream."
What? Yeah. And he'll go, "Come here, I want to give you something." It's a book.
I was thinking instead of giving out, a Halloween candy, I would just give out copies of Zed.
I mean, that's an expensive. That's an expensive.
No, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Oh, I agree.
Totally worth it. Buy 100 copies. You run out quickly in the first 2 hours of trick-or-treaters, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
That's a great idea. Actually, Lance, I was thinking about this because oftentimes I like having things signed by people. I'm encouraging people, don't go to Amazon to order this book. We'll have links to Lance's books in the show notes, and you can order directly from the source. HarperCollins is one link that I'll put in there. But what if someone wanted to get a signed copy of Zed Moonstein?
Thank you for asking. In that case, you can order from my independent bookstore in Park Slope Community Bookstore. Maybe that link will be in there too. And when you order, just in the notes section, you just say, "I want this personalized to whoever." And then the bookstore will tell me, and I'll go over and I'll sign it and I'll write a message, and the book will be to you quickly.
That's awesome. Yeah, do it. And Lance will say, "This is Dustin's brother," and Zach wants to be a brother, but he's only a brother in universal
Zach's sort
way.
of brother, and but also if you don't want to do that, if you have a local independent bookstore, just order from them. Maybe they have it in stock, but otherwise just going to the store and requesting and be like, "Hey, I've heard this book is great." That's very helpful to an author such as myself also. Bookstores are the best. Like video stores are dead, and that's so sad, but we have bookstores, and we got to keep them alive.
Well, you got to pivot in a way that feels organic, where it's not totally nostalgic. It's got to be organic in the sense of like have some books, have some music. Barnes and Nobles is back, and what they did here on the Promenade in Santa Monica is great because there's enough unique stuff there, but there's also tie-ins to, they've got some toys, they got some games, and it's like you gotta do that. You gotta have all those things.
Yep. Make it a hub of community, being with real people, getting suggestions from real booksellers, not just algorithms being like, if you like this, maybe you like this.
Right. Well, and it's kind of weird that Zed Moonstein is a middle school book dealing with tween angst in a way. In a weird segue to my science project, which is a high school movie, there's somewhat of a connection there. Technology, right, Dustin? Technology, angst.
Muscle cars.
Keep going.
Crazy professors who want to be called by their first name.
That doesn't happen nowadays.
Songs by bands that you like that are bad songs.
There's one really good one in there. We'll get to the soundtrack at the end.
I will actually say in Zed Moonstein, a big character is his grandfather, Grandpa Jerry, who's very much against technology and doesn't want to get on board in a typical grumpy old person way. But Dennis Hopper's Bob, the science teacher in this, is there's a rough parallel there.
Yeah, why not?
They fill that same slot. Yeah.
It's against the man. Does he call police officers oinkers?
No, I did not. That was an early draft of the book. I ended up cutting that. It felt a little dated, but that's such a funny line. There's so many funny lines like that and funny slang in this movie.
So funny. I actually did see a lot of comparisons in Zed to a lot of 80s movies where kids have the answers. Where kids are the ones, like the town's falling apart, like the Monster Squad, like the Lost Boys. I feel like I referenced that a little bit, in terms of the grandpa character specifically. And just any time where, there's strange shit going down in a town and only the kids, are the ones who really know what's going on and can fix it.
Yes.
Yeah. And this movie is really like that, right, Dustin? Wouldn't you say this is a kid fixing movie?
My science project?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, You know, there's a difference when you watch a movie like, let's say, The Monster Squad, just because I just mentioned it, and probably this is airing in October or
Yes.
November.
Yep.
Or when, so if it's October, right, go out, watch The Monster Squad. Always a great rewatch. But
Agreed.
there's a difference in sort of the age of this, because you know how like when you watch movies and there are certain characters or actors that are older than you, and for the rest of your life, like you'll never not see them as being like 45 or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you rewatch a
Yes.
movie. You rewatch a movie and you're like, that person is probably like 28 in this, but they look 45 to me or whatever. And so like Fisher Stevens to me is not a kid.
No.
He will never be a kid. You know, I'll never watch him and go like, there's even when he was a kid, like you could show me his birthing video and I'd be like, there's 45-year-old Fisher Stevens. I don't know how old he was when they made this. I should know that, but
I can tell you because I watched a special feature interview with him.
Oh, nice.
On
Look at
the
you.
Blu-ray that I won from $2 late fee.
Yes.
A few years ago. Yeah.
Woo.
And when I received that movie in the raffle, I was like, this is a movie? I'd never heard the title.
I remember when you won that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Fisher Stevens, this was his first big Hollywood role. He was a teenager. He grew up in Brooklyn, but he dropped out of high school. He was doing some Broadway musical, he said. He was seen by the director in that Broadway musical, screen tested, and got the part. But I got the sense he was like 18, 19, very young in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, not 45.
Are we to assume that these are all seniors in this movie?
Yeah, I think so. Like the premise of the movie, when Bob is like, if you don't hand in your science project, you're not going to get a diploma in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's like his graduation hinges on going to a junkyard and finding a piece of alien junk.
They drive, they have the lay of the land. They call everybody by their last name.
They're seniors.
Yeah, they're definitely seniors. Yeah.
It's just not making a big deal of that other than as a plot point to motivate it.
Did anyone ever call you guys Rubin?
Not in high school.
Yeah, I was Rube by a lot of coaches.
Right. I might have been too. But coaches.
Rube.
Yeah. All right, Rube. Let's go, Rube. We're going to rock and roll today. A lot of that. A lot of rocking and rolling today.
Where my mind goes with Rube, it goes to Rube Goldberg. So I think of like, got to get Rube going. If Rube starts going, then the whole thing's going to, one thing after another, it's all going to go into place.
So exciting. It's going to be so fun once that contraption gets going.
Lance,
wish I thought of it that way.
Pretty much, you pretty much surmised this this story. It's, you know, these, I don't want to call them losers, but they're auto shop kids. So they're grease monkeys back in the day when we had auto shop in high school. And they've got to finish their final project. And John Stockwell, who plays who's the lead in this movie, he plays Mike. He ends up in the graveyard of airplanes, airplane graveyard, which is a legit place, which we'll get to that in a second because it takes place in Arizona. So you know where this is going, Dustin. And he finds this weird contraption that's kind of previewed in the beginning of the movie, the first 5 minutes, and craziness ensues. I wouldn't call this movie the funniest sci-fi movie ever, but I feel like this movie kind of links up with movies like Explorers, you know, or like dramas with comedy throughout. Dustin, would you agree with that?
You know, I don't know if I can sort of sum up what genre is best for this, because
that's good. Yeah,
it is. You know, we need to sort of address the fact, right, that 1985 was such a huge summer for science fiction movies that it almost seems like a mistake that this movie came out at that time, because, I mean, they were trying to capitalize, but it was literally like, I forget the order. I'm sure you have it, right? It's like, I had wrote it down. It's like Back to the Future, Real Genius, Weird Science, and then this movie, like, randomly at the end.
In August, in August is typically not a good month for movies anyways, because kids are starting to go back to school.
And and overall, it's kind of a movie where it's not getting you in fast enough, I guess, is my problem, like with it. Like, even though what you're saying is he finds the device, but it's essentially, Michael's saying, like, I got to graduate. Is there anything I can fix up? He's a car guy. He's just likes muscle cars. He's like, what can I fix up that I can pass off as a science project? And of course, Dennis Hopper, his Professor Bob, is like, that's not a great way to pass. And it's kind of weird.
He wants more for him, right? Yeah.
Like, get me, create something. And, Michael doesn't ever create anything, but he does find this thing that he does fix up, and like you said, a lot of things happen, but does enough happen?
Well, that's interesting, because is there really, typically movies have an antagonist? Does this movie have an antagonist?
Really good point.
Kind of, yes. I mean, a late antagonist in The Officer, played by Richard Mazer, pops up in the end.
God,
right?
Amazing little cameo.
Right? Little cameo. So there's like a vague government cop antagonist throughout. I guess that's the antagonist, and then just the gizmo itself. Like, are they gonna like lose control of it and create chaos that they can't fix?
John Stockwell's not unfamiliar with this, because he was in Christine, I believe the same year or the year before, about the killer car.
That's so Hollywood. They're like, we need a car guy. Oh, let's get that guy from the car movie.
Right.
Yeah. Because
was that car red?
This guy loves cars.
We'll give him a red car also, because we just, people like to see him in red cars or near red cars. I don't know. Let's just do that.
I mean, 1983 is when that movie came out, just so everyone goes, whoa, hold on a second. And by the way, Diallo loves when I do that voice, because he's like, that's your inner voice, right? That whoa, hold on, the nerdy guy that gets all uppity. And anyways,
meaning you're on the other side of what you perceive to just happen, like you're the point of order, Robert's Rules of Order.
Yes.
You just said something like that Christine came out the year before, but it's actually 2 years before.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yep.
I kind of a little bit like Sherman, Raphael Sabarge, who, by the way, Dustin and I interviewed a couple years back and talked a little bit about my science project with him.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And I will tease really quickly, Danielle von Zernick, who plays Ellie Sawyer. She's going to be the upcoming interview following this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
She came on to talk specifically about my science project. She is a big-time movie nerd, and you're going to hear all about that. She has some interesting takes, but Raphael's biggest take was the dinosaur at the end, the big
the
special effects,
T-Rex.
The T-Rex,
I remember that.
Explode, and that was his biggest takeaway, I think, from this movie. But I agree.
Meaning what? Like, you were like, what do you remember about that? The dinosaur. Like,
it was so well. He was in a movie, right, Dustin? Wasn't he in a Carnosaur movie or something like that?
He was, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he. I don't remember the exact connection, but it's really. I think we could argue that his character is sort of antagonistic too.
Yes, that's right. He's looking to ruin things. For them.
Are they Yeah, so they're like pseudo antagonists, right? Because Richard Mazer he's not a bad guy per se. But he's a cop on their trail, because there's
right.
Bob disappears.
Bob disappeared. Yeah.
Dennis Hopper, who apparently had just got out of rehab before he did this movie, and then he's like sniffing nitrous in a scene in this, and this is amazing.
Yes. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, in context of him just coming out of rehab.
And then
do a little sniff.
Right. And then there's some bully action in there, but the bullies are very forgettable. They just come in and come out, and it's kind of insignificant why they even feel like stuff on the chopping room floor. But you're right, Dustin, this movie doesn't pick up until 30 minutes into the film. Like, they don't find the device until 30 minutes into the 90-minute movie.
Yeah, it was just like an hour in, and I was like, when are we gonna do some time travel, guys?
When are we gonna do some time travel?
A time machine that you found, and
it's truly bizarre. Just to talk about that, what the gizmo does, and this is even a line in the trailer, like, we traveled 2 hours into the future. So you kind of feel like, oh, that's cool. That's a kind of a cool spin on time travel, but that's not what the movie's about at all. Like, that happens that's just like one of the kind of time warpy things that happens.
Right.
And it's very confusing even. It's like, so then just kids are getting out of school already. Like, all right, cool. We've jumped forward.
Yeah,
They never do that again.
it's like a gentle time jump. It's a gentle time jump.
Yes,
We're not going to go
yes.
too far into the future.
Yes.
Not too
And then
much.
until you get to the end when Sherman unleashes time warp on the whole high school, and then it's just like a Disney theme park of time
Right.
where they're being shot at by
Right.
creatures both fantastical from the future and from the past, like Neanderthals.
Well, it's funny you say that, Lance, because this was, I believe, the first movie for Touchstone Pictures or Touchstone Pictures.
Oh, this was their first movie?
Yeah, and that's it's an offshoot of Disney.
Yes,
And
that's a big deal.
yeah, and Raphael and Danielle, that was one of the things Danielle talked about, was being on the Disney lot and shooting this movie
That's cool.
and kind of being in awe of everything as a kid. Yeah, totally. Like I feel like they at the last minute they're like, we gotta throw a bunch of stuff in here, guys. We gotta up the action.
Yeah. We get dinosaurs. I mean, there's that like Muppety guy that's kind of like Sloth from Goonies, just with like a wig, who's coming at them like, ah! It's just like, what era are you from?
Voiced by Frank Welker, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did a bunch, and Michael Berryman was one of the creatures, one of the mutants.
Okay.
But Frank Welker obviously is the voice of, so many 80s cartoons, and Shockwave, Megatron,
Everything.
like,
everything.
yeah, I mean, 80s kids
Legendary.
unite.
Wow.
Definitely got to cover that guy down the road. Frank Welker's icon. But and then Michael Berryman, who looks unique to begin with, who just had put out a biography not that long ago, actually, based on his life, because he's had a really unique life based on the way he looks, and the whole book is about that. But
Michael Berryman, also in Weird Science,
oh yeah,
as one of the guys at the end who kind of crash Gary and Wyatt's house, the bikers that crash their house. So he had a big summer too, I guess.
I guess he did. My God. Yeah, Dustin, this is the first time, because we've covered Weird Science, we covered Real Genius, had an interview for Real Genius, but that had to disappear. Look into that, y'all. Problematic. And we always talked about doing my science project. So when I said to you, I was texting Dustin and I'm like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. And I thought this is perfect because this was the three. Back to the Future, I hold that in a whole different category.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course.
arguably the
Of
greatest
course.
movie of all time.
Of all time.
We're not going to
Yeah.
talk about that.
But of these three, and I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on this. If I was going to put them in order, I would put Real Genius, My Science Project, Weird Science in that order, top to bottom. Dustin, how about you? How does this rank, My Science Project, amongst those three?
It's definitely at the bottom. I think.
Same for me.
It's definitely
Wow.
Real
Same for me.
Genius.
Well, I mean, this
Weird
tracks,
Science.
right? This tracks.
Real Genius, Weird Science, and My Science Project. And I could basically make 3 columns and come up with categories as to why that is because
Yeah.
But Lance, obviously you can weigh in. Your order's the same.
My order's the same.
Yeah, okay.
My order's the same. Although I've not seen Real Genius or Weird Science in such a long time, but just based on my memories and the way they sit, I feel like there's no way my science project. What's it called again? Yeah, My Science Project.
What the
I
hell
thought
is
there
this
might have been
movie?
another adjective in there, like my crazy science project.
My Deadly Friend Science Project.
My Deadly Friends Science Project. There's no way it can compare because I thought it was most interesting to watch. As I was watching, I was like, this is what happens to most movies and most pieces of art when it doesn't become a Back to the Future or a Ghostbusters. Like, I feel like probably the comps at the time was like, it's going to be Ghostbusters, and this uses a lot of the same, like, lightning animation.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
constantly
Smoke
in there.
machine.
Like, if you throw more of that in, maybe it makes it into Ghostbusters. And what I've came to determine was like John Stockwell's performance is very solid, very good, but he has no lightness that say a Michael J. Fox or Bill Murray has. So as much as they want to market it as the funniest sci-fi film, like his performance is not comedic. He's just he's like believable and he's kind of grounded, but there's nothing going on there. And it was really interesting because I was like, oh, this is like what Back to the Future was probably like a little bit when Eric Stoltz was doing it. And they were like, this doesn't work.
Right.
This doesn't work. And then when I watched the Fisher Stevens interview after, he said during this movie, he and John Stockwell were tight, obviously, and he was coaching John Stockwell on his audition to be Marty McFly. And he said it came down to him and Michael J. Fox. Now, I don't,
Wow.
I've never heard that told, but at least John Stockwell was somewhere in the mix because he was like one of the guys at this time, and the movie would not have worked with him.
I think they were all running together, right? Like I don't know about Michael J. Fox, but Dustin, we talked about this with Dean.
Dean Cameron?
Yeah, sorry, we talked about this with Dean Cameron. Thank you.
Cameron.
And you know, he buddies with Eric Stoltz and buddies with I'm sure he was buddies with John Stockwell and Tate Donovan, and for example, all these guys who are going for those teen roles. Yeah, that makes sense. Fisher Stevens, though, I agree with you going back, Dustin, about the age difference with him, looking like he's 45, but he's really, you know, 18 or 19 in this movie. Next to Short Circuit, I feel like this is a kind of iconic role for him. Like he's so memorable for this character.
Yeah, he's definitely the main takeaway performance, I'd say, other than Dennis Hopper.
And definitely the star of the movie. Like you go, this guy's got something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vinny.
Vinny. And he talked about how free he felt on the set, that the director really let them improv a lot. And I think he was clearly the best improviser in the cast. And so he really shines. And you also, I watched the credits through.
Yes,
so at first
we have
it's just stills, you know, but then they just throw in some random outtakes that's clearly just like Fisher Stevens dicking around. Like, it's not that funny. I
mean, the hot dogs are pretty funny.
Oh, the hot dog. Yeah, the hot dog. That's pretty good. That's the first one, right? Then there's one where he just says like, "Hey girls, boola boola," and then they don't like say anything, and they just dykes. And it's like, okay, well,
yeah, there's a lot of lines that I feel like uncomfortable saying.
Yes,
maybe I'll let you say them.
It was just the air people breathe in the 80s movies. It's horrible. But so there's like that one, and they're like, well, we got to put this one in. And I think just probably on set, they're all the time like, oh my God, that's gold. Oh, if we can't use it, just put it in the credits. And it really was. He was so good. He's just like very loose. And it's, even when it's not like so funny, you're just enjoying seeing someone be spontaneous and kind of living in their character.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of believable. Like, I had friends like that back in the day. I was kind of like that. I was constantly quoting, I still do, quoting TV shows and movies. And, oh, this reminds me of blah, 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 blah. You know, he's calling Bob Barbarino. And I'm like, yeah, that has no connection whatsoever to Vinny Barbarino, but it's just funny. Dustin, like, is he your favorite performer in this movie?
Fisher Stevens?
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, he's not because of the reasons why, like, maybe it's just my today sensibility, but I'm like, he's really offensive to me. And I don't know why that is, because he's also like the bully. You know, there's this scene where like they want to make a phone call and I forget what he says to the kid, but it ends with him pushing the kid in the bushes and taking the kid's money to make the phone call. And I'm like, so there's this whole side of it where like he's like tormenting clearly all the underclassmen. Which in the 80s, that's what you did. It was like a rite of passage. We understood that even going into high school in the 90s, that like that stuff was going to happen. But it's weird because it really hit me strange, where I'm like, because we live in a world now where the bullies, you know, not to make this political, but it's like there's no consequences. The bullies do whatever they want, from my perspective. And it just kind of hit that way.
This is a bully political show. It's a bully political religious show. So go for it.
So, you know, I was a bit like, oof, like whatever, like they get arrested at one point and the female cop is trying to take his picture and he says something where he says, chill out, Butch, get a shave.
Yes. But you know what was really interesting? I felt like
when you're
that line, I noticed that moment and I wrote down because before that line, she says, why do you wear sunglasses? Why do you wear sunglasses at night? Oh my God, I wrote it down because it was so funny.
Is it because I'm so cool?
Oh, he says, because when you're cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day.
I love that line.
Hey kid, why do you wear sunglasses at night?
Because when you're cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day.
That's an amazing line. But then, then she like pushes him again, and he kind of, the line is like, chill out, but you know, Butch, like get a shave. But he plays it like, oh, I'm into this, like I'm feeling this. So I felt like he acted against the kind of like offensive nature of the lines.
Totally. And he reminds me of the little dog in the Warner Brother cartoons that had the little dog who was all attitude, and then he had the big bully with him. And Mike is actually not intimidating, but he's the quiet guy, and he's taller than Vinny, and he could be imposing, I guess, because he's when you work on cars, you're perceived as being tough, and especially in the 80s, and so maybe that's why he has that air of confidence. I will say he's a very faithful friend. Like he ditches his girlfriend when Mike needs him, and he's always there for him, like no matter what.
Yeah, he is.
And has no problem, taking on a T-Rex with a machine gun. So,
oh my God, they're so casual about the kind of creatures they're encountering, just shooting these machine guns. Like anybody would be like, oh my God, are we gonna get out of this time warp? Like, what is happening? Like we're become so close to death so many times. I feel like we should just run.
Yeah, because this movie goes from like, I compare it to Explorers, or I was thinking about Explorers at the time, because Explorers, I feel, is a beautiful film. I actually think it's the first 2/3 of that movie are beautiful, and then the last third is just, sorry if it offends anybody, but it's hot garbage at the end. It's just like, what just happened? We had just like this coming of age childhood movie that's so cool, and then suddenly, Joe Dante talked about that in an interview once, but this movie feels like it has the potential to be like kind of heartwarming and coming of age. The grease monkey realizing that he's got a future bigger than that. Ellie, the book nerd who basically forces Mike to go on a date with her. Like she ends up coming out of her shell. Like it has the pieces to be something really cool. I will say, I agree with you guys. Like it felt slow at times and the pacing is weird. But when I was a kid watching this in 1985, when I was 9 years old, I was watching this it was like always on Cinemax or HBO or whatever cable. It was this and Real Genius. Weird Science, maybe not so much because it was a little more mature. So I think that's why I just would go to like, oh my gosh, this is ingrained in my soul. Like I watched it all the time, right? Dustin, was that for you? Was this movie always on for you?
Yeah, for sure. I had even said to Lance that I one block over from us growing up, I had a friend, Michael Papa, who by all accounts today would be labeled as like ADHD, but back then it was just like an 80s kid, just going a million miles an hour and crazy. And he and I would watch this movie all the time on HBO. And but it's the moments in that last 20 minutes that stand out for me. I don't remember, them racing against the sparks and the cables or whatever, because they're going to blow up the town, blow up the power grid or any of that. I just remember like the T-Rex and the Future Guys and like all of that, and how much possibility and coolness that had. If that like ended up like in your high school, you'd be like, wow.
Right.
But to revisit it, it doesn't, outside of that moment of nostalgia, I kept waiting. I'm like, where is that? Like we're an hour in, like what's happening? Why aren't we there yet? And that's not a great, sign in a 90-minute movie.
No. And I feel like you can take that last 20 minutes, take the last 20 minutes of Explorers, chop that off, throw this 20 minutes in, put that in there, and then you've got yourself a perfect movie. Not really, but sort of.
Yeah.
So this movie takes place in Arizona. Well, and even though they shoot it in parts of California, but it's an Arizona movie. And Lance, I don't know if you know this about me, but back in the 80s, a lot of movies were shot in Arizona, The Wraith being one of them, the car movie with Charlie Sheen and Sherilyn Fenn. I wanted to live in Arizona so badly because of movies like this. Where I'm like, ooh, look at the flat roofs and look at like the cactuses and the, I was living in Michigan.
Dry skin. Look at the dry skin.
I didn't think about the dry skin.
Dehydration.
But that was a really thing. Did you ever say that aloud, or that was just an internal monologue? You're like, I got to move to Arizona.
Yeah. When I was a middle schooler, I dreamed of living in Arizona and having the hot babe in the car, and the muscle car, the motorcycle.
Hey, Vinny, you just wait. When I graduate from this junior high dump, I'm moving to Arizona, man. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a sick car. Was you sick and wicked? What?
Bitchin'. I think bitchin' is yes.
Bitchin'. Yeah, that was great though. It was very authentic.
Yeah.
Up until sick.
You were saying, Lance, that Vinny has quite a few lines in this that I can't even say them, but there is one line when he looks at the Roman soldier and he's to scope that beep in the
Drops
tutu.
The F word. Yeah,
I was saying that I didn't even know what that word meant back in the day.
I mean, yeah, it's insane the number of movies that you go to rewatch and they're just dropping that word.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, perfect example.
Yep. That I'm having to contextualize it for the kids, and now they know it at this point. They're like, "Oh yeah, we know. We would never say that."
Right,
like,
right,
okay, great.
Right. The important thing is don't say it, and but there is it at the same time because he says something like he just something that guy in the Chones. They're like,
yes,
like Chones for testicles is.
I use Chones.
Oh yeah,
Chones is pretty good.
Chones,
like, that is funny.
I mean, there's something to be said. Like he wasn't perceived as a jerk back in the day. You definitely look at that now, Dustin. I think with this lens, but and this is interesting too. Yeah, John Stockwell is very flatline, but his dad is very colorful. I just want to mention that too. His dad and his soon-to-be stepmom or new stepmom,
Dolores.
What is it? Anne Wedgeworth, who plays Dolores, wonderful actress, like so good, classic. And I believe is it Barry Corbin who plays the dad? Yeah, I think it's the dad, Lou. He's also another like iconic character actor from the 80s. But they're not. Am I wrong in thinking that I thought the dad would be like an abusive dad or an asshole? He's not. And then she's like kind of moving in to get the money or something like that. Like that's where my mind goes, but she's not, right, Lance? They're actually kind of like likable people.
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, Dolores is just weird is the main thing. And it's actually very funny because right after they travel in time 2 hours forward, he shows up at the house and you're kind of expecting like, having seen Back to the Future now and all these things, you're expecting like something's going to be weird, but it's like, nah, they're just weird because they're weird. And he's like, we got married and she's your stepmother now. And he's like, stepmother? And for a second, my brain was like, oh yeah, is he confused? She's his stepmother because he time travels? Like, no, that's just unrelated. Like, it's just, it was a very confusing use of time travel at all. I just don't think that should have entered into it.
And he barges into the dad barges into Mike's room and says, hey, you think at that moment, right, he's going to assault him, right, Dustin? But then what does he do? He's like, you need to come out here and spend some time with your new stepmom or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is it's that lack of communication that you see, that the kind of the story device of maybe the kid wants to be closer with his dad since mom left or passed or whatever. And he's not, and we see that a lot. But then not only did Dolores become a stepmom, but she also redecorated the entire house, we learned.
Right, that happened too, yes.
So, in a really, tacky, even for that time period, really tacky pink, lacy.
Like the Madonna Inn here in Los Angeles.
It looks horrible. So, so I think that was kind of this jarring thing. And then also like, he doesn't know Dolores at all, right? So it's like now she's stepmom and she redid the house and like, so I was on board with his like, what the
Of course.
Yeah.
But you're also thinking like, oh, was the house redecorated because he time traveled?
Right. It's confusing.
Like, no, that would have happened either way.
For 2 hours.
It's confusing.
And I mean, look, the movie was written and directed by Jonathan
Beckel. I have the quote, Beckel, let us be free. That was what Fisher Stevens said.
Interesting. Well,
Beckel,
he's known
let us be free.
He directed one other movie. It's Theodore Rex. It's where Whoopi Goldberg plays opposite a dinosaur.
Oh, God. He loved dinosaurs.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But he wrote The Last Starfighter, one of the writers on The Last Starfighter, at least.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which, no, he is the sole writer of that. Yeah, and I think that says a lot because that movie's got a lot. Last Starfighter doesn't hold up in some ways and it does in others. Interestingly, the composer of this movie is Peter Bernstein. He's the son of Elmer Bernstein?
Oh, I was going to ask that. Yes, or look into yes.
A little bit of nepotism going on there, but
Hey, well, is it nepotism, or are you just more likely to be a talented composer if your dad was a talented composer?
right. I mean, that what a house
I
that must
thought
have been.
the score was pretty good. I mean, the score was very reminiscent of just other scores of that time. Like there's kind of an ET feel, and
Right.
there actually was a Back to the Future feel, even though these movies came out around the same time, and I'm sure they hadn't heard that. But in the climax of this movie, it's very reminiscent of the Back to the Future score. It's like,
Oh yeah.
like, yeah, which I mean, it was just a vibe at the time, I guess.
That's pretty accurate, Lance. That's pretty...
Oh, thank you so much.
But Alan Howarth did some of the sound effects for this, and Alan Howarth, I don't know if you guys know, but he's the composer. He worked a lot with John Carpenter and doing his scores for a lot of his 80s movies. So
we saw him live.
That's right. We did. Oh my God, Dustin, tell Lance about that. Do you remember that?
We were going to see, I think, a screening of They Live.
Yes.
You know, I don't even know how long ago this was. It was certainly
5 years,
pre-pandemic.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. And maybe more. And then Alan was doing like a live set with some music
at the Egyptian Theater. Yeah.
At the Egyptian Theater with some visuals kind of behind him of John Carpenter's, films.
Cool.
And I remember just kind of feeling like what was it? He took himself so serious. Like he was so dramatic. And it went on a very long time. And I was, but it was very enjoyable. It was very, very cool. But I'm trying to remember. Was there an interview with him? Did he say anything?
I think there was. I believe there was. But it was Lance. It was like, the composer who wanted to be a rock star, and so he came out on stage with a very flashy outfit. And God bless the guy. I love it.
Yeah.
He did like a 45-minute set. Dustin, you're right.
Okay.
Like it maybe should have been 20 minutes. And
right,
just playing
because
the
movie was already, by the time the movie, we're like, oh my God, like this is long. Like this is a really long.
Oh, after the movie, then was the musical set?
No, it was before, but it was like the movie was supposed to start
at like 7:30 or something.
Whatever time, and then it didn't start until like 8:30, and we're like, what?
What's going on? And you're kind of exhausted, but it was pretty remarkable. We're like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, because Alan Howarth had a lot to do with the scores that are iconic for a lot of Carpenter movies in the 80s. Big Trouble in Little China, They Live, of course. I just thought that was kind of interesting that he was involved in this movie, and this movie's like. Before we get into the soundtrack, I want to get your guys' kind of final thoughts. It still holds a warm place in my heart. It's not as good as I remember it to be.
We don't want to ruin it.
Ruin it.
It's still special to you.
Dustin, ruin it for me. Go, Dustin. Do you have any final thoughts about this movie?
It's the new tagline. Dustin, ruin it for me. No, it's not a terrible movie.
No,
it's not. But when you look at what it could be, because I look at it like to Lance's point, if time jumps ahead 2 hours, I want to play in that space for a minute. We never know what the time machine does. We don't know how it works. They just hook it up to a generator, a power source, because they do. I don't know why. I don't even know why they do that.
Yeah.
And every time they do that, it blows out the power for something else, presumably because it's so powerful, or is it drawing power from other sources that are around it? I don't know. It takes out cars. To me, when I don't know how something works within the confines of the story, it's very hard for me to get interested in like what might happen, because like now all of a sudden we're just pulling in, people from different dimensions and times, but.
Right.
But why not have time, jump a little bit? Why not when Dennis Hopper comes back at the end, I wished we had followed him.
Yeah.
And that's a bad sign.
And he's wearing the outfit from Easy Rider at the end of the movie, which is a callback to Easy Rider, which is really awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. I loved his lines there were just like generic 60s stuff. He's like, Beatle concerts, anti-war rallies.
Yeah, what does he say? Lance, what did he say at the end about high school is like... It was kind of weak.
Well, that's another confusing moment for me. Was like, he's like, and I went to Woodstock. And Mike's like, Woodstock? What's Woodstock? And I suddenly was like, oh, does this movie take place before Woodstock? No, Mike is
No,
just
Mike
so
is
into
just-
cars he has no idea what Woodstock is. That's a whole separate. It's like when you're playing with time and then you have lines like that. You're like, it's so confusing as an audience member. You're like, he doesn't know what Woodstock is.
Yeah.
Like I live decades after Woodstock. I mean, he's living like 15
Yeah.
years after Woodstock. Anyway,
Right.
It just
that was
happened, man.
funny.
Yeah.
I also want to say, thinking about all that and the movie's logic, it doesn't even like you want Bob to come back and be like, Mike, you got an A. Like if the movie's called My Science Project and we did all this because he wants to get his diploma, we're not even going to wrap that up. Like,
Right.
you know, like it's not. Instead, we have the bookends of like Mike, Mike, whose whole personality is cars. At the beginning of the movie, when his car breaks down, and Ellie's like, it happens to everyone. It's like, not to me, it doesn't. And it's like this weird kind of erection metaphor. Like you can't help but think. It's like,
Oh my
don't
God,
worry,
that's
everyone's
really
car
funny.
breaks down. That's kind of what I felt.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God. I never thought about that. It's
right?
so
Because
true.
the idea of him being so, him being so embarrassed to
That's
go into
so
town,
true.
like, and his car is broken down. So there's the erection thing. And then the end of the movie, it's like,
Get
they're
on.
just back in the car again, apropos of nothing. And the car breaks down. He's like, it's just a car. So then I kind of like, oh, that was the journey we've been on to be
Yeah.
like to make Mike not only care about cars and
You're right.
and how did fighting a T-Rex get him there? Because Ellie almost died. You know, like the pieces are not thematically cohesive. You could kind of make your own satisfying arc of it if you want to, but it's just not. You don't naturally go there, and so that's where I think the movie just doesn't hold together. It's like stuff happening and there's fun stuff. And as a kid, I'm sure it's just like, this is cool because stuff is happening. But if you're looking for like a satisfying journey, it's just all over the place.
Yeah, because you wouldn't write a book that way, right? You wouldn't have written Zed Moonstein that way, where it's just a bunch
No,
of
well-
vignettes and then something. Well,
Sure,
actually,
no. And people do. I mean, you know, it's your taste in art and you know, how much you care about story and want to make it all make sense. But, you know, and it's very possible in screenplay form, this did make more sense. And then just in the editing, it was like, this is what it has to be. But
Yeah. But Lance, doesn't Dennis Hopper, because he comes back and he sort of gives him the A conditionally, though. Doesn't
does
say,
he? What does he
yeah, he's
say?
like, you can get an A as long as you destroy this thing or return it back to
oh
where
yeah,
it
you're
was.
right. You're right.
No.
It does. I'm sorry. Nothing I said is true because
But,
yeah, he
well-
totally does. Just destroy this gizmo.
Just destroy this gizmo. Right.
Yeah,
destroy the
yeah,
gizmo.
you're totally right.
Send it back because he says the world's not ready for it. But
Yeah.
even that is, like, I agree, it's not very fulfilling. You sort of feel like the world's not ready for it. It's not like nobody even knows how to use it. Like, even,
Right.
you know, like it was sort of a fluke that you were touching it.
Yeah.
Like, why did he go back and nobody else went back at any point when they were doing it the first time? Like,
Right.
because he was trying to touch it? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're totally right.
the ball's called a plasma ball. That's the actual prop that they use, where you touch it and your finger hits
one
the
of those
pulse
things,
and moves
yes.
it around.
The
So as a
Spencer's gift
kid,
shop.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I knew what that was back in the 80s, and like, I know what that is, you know. And of course, when you're a kid, you want the suspension of disbelief of like, oh, what is that thing? It's so cool looking. The flux
Right.
capacitor is so unique, you know. Really, it's just a bunch
Yeah.
of LED lights. That was a little cheesy to me in that moment, and I totally agree with everything you guys are saying. It was kind of weak that Mike just tosses it back in the hole that he found it from and covers it up gently and never to be found again, question mark. And by the way, I think they have J. Edgar Hoover look-alike in the beginning of this movie. I think that's the president that's supposed to be visiting the because the opening of this movie to start is it
I thought it was
Hoover?
Eisenhower.
Oh, Eisenhower, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
one of
that
those
wasn't
guys.
clear. You know, like it wasn't clear what was
They
happening.
just said Mr. President or whatever.
like,
Sorry to get
yeah.
you off your golf game.
Right.
Yeah, and that part of me was like, ooh, is this gonna be like Mac and Me? I forgot about, you know, and I'm gotta be honest with y'all, Mac and Me kind of holds up more than my science project does. As far as an enjoyable level, because it takes you on a journey. But this movie, I don't want to say fails. This movie has the potential of having a really killer soundtrack, but it doesn't really execute it. With the exception of one song to me. And there is no physical soundtrack for this film because there's only like 4 or 5 songs that are actually in the film. 2 or 3 of which are impossible to find streaming or YouTube, or one is by David Johansen, you know, obviously of
The Dolls,
the New York Dolls,
New York Dolls,
just passed away earlier this year. Rest in peace, David Johansen. Amazing. He's got a song on here called "Hard to Believe." I believe it's playing earlier in the movie in the car, in one of the people's cars. And then another guy. Sorry, that song's called "Hit and Run." There's another song called "My Mind's Made Up" by Steve Jonstad. I don't know where that song comes up or not. And then there's 2 songs by the Tubes, and we'll get that in a second. But The Warrior by Scandal is playing at one point in this movie. And that got me, Dustin, on your thoughts on getting me going.
Yeah. Well, it's right. It's been so long since I've delved into the soundtrack discussions. It feels foreign and yet not, right? It's
it's there, because it's never going to leave you. It's always going to be there.
It's never going to leave you. But no, I mean, look, Scandal's Warrior is like an iconic 80s song to me.
Iconic.
It's you could put that on at any point and I would go, great song. I'm never going to like skip it unless I've listened to it already 20 times, and like, okay, 21 I'll skip. But but everything else to me is so take it or leave it,
Yeah.
That I don't really, it disappoints me in the sense that, and I know we haven't really dove in, but the Tubes are a great iconic band and they have some very well-known songs like She's a Beauty or Talk to You Later. That, the songs that they have in this movie don't translate to me at all. And, it's just kind of fits with the whole nature of the whole movie, right? Like if this is going to be my bottom, the soundtrack is also going to be the bottom.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, the soundtrack will put it up. The soundtrack's better than Weird Science. No, it's not.
No.
The soundtrack's not better than Real Genius. Absolutely not. And it's nowhere near Back to the Future. You can't even touch this. You can't even speak of these soundtracks.
I'd say, this might be sacrilegious, but I think even because it was never released, Real Genius never had their soundtrack released. Real Genius might have the overall solid soundtrack. Back to the Future has 2 iconic songs in it that overall, that's my take on it. But
you take Huey Lewis and just kind of pull him over.
I pull out Don Henley and put in a Huey, and I think we got a perfect soundtrack right there.
Yeah.
All she wants to do is dance, throw it out the window, and give me Power of Love. But Lance, how do you feel? Like you were talking about the credits at the end, the Tube song "My Science Project," which is the theme song to the movie, is playing over it. And I agree with you, Dustin. Tubes are amazing. Y'all should do a deep dive on them because they are very funny lyrically. I think they have a song called "White Punks on Dope," or there's a sushi girl song, or like a lot of metaphorical songs. The Tubes have. But Lance, the end of the movie with "My Science Project" playing by the Tubes. What are your thoughts?
Yes, well, definitely you get points for having a song with the title of the movie. That's just fun.
Yes.
I thought the vocals were a little unhinged, a little too unhinged for me.
Fee Waybill, by the way. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. It felt like maybe one take, 2 take. It just felt like they just recorded really fast. Maybe he was like, I wrote down the lyric Einstein led and everyone followed. Like it's fun. Like lyrically,
I like that line.
Is fun.
Yeah.
It's just like it just felt a little too like I'm just shouting this Einstein led and everyone followed. Like it just like it felt. I just wanted a little more reined in. But maybe that's not the style they were going for. Maybe that was 7th, 8th take. Maybe they put a lot of time into this. It felt like a little like we'll write some lyrics really quickly that involve science and just say, record this fast. But
but it says a lot when the credits, the end credits, are actually one of the more entertaining parts of the movie.
Yeah. No, it was fun to listen to in its unhinged vocal quality. Yeah.
But it also, I will go back and say it needs Fisher Stevens to make it enjoyable, right, Dustin? Like the entire credits are all images or outtakes.
Right.
Like the credits never go to black. with this
Right.
tube song playing underneath Fisher Stevens, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah. All the Fisher Stevens outtakes. Yeah.
It is. They definitely felt like, he's our comedic relief. He's our
Yeah.
He's our guy. He's our guy. He's
Yeah.
he's
We're
our
gonna leave you
horse.
smiling.
Yeah.
I do want to
Yeah.
ask you guys though, really quick, because we didn't really touch on her that much. Danielle von Zernick, Lance, what are your
Yes.
feelings on Danielle von Zernick playing Ellie?
I enjoyed her performance a lot. I mean, like many 80s female roles, it's perhaps underwritten, but she had an interesting character where she's like into books, and it was interesting that she's kind of like, what did she say? She's avoiding getting the superlative of like top senior spinster. And so
Right.
she needs a date, and she's always had a crush on Michael. Yeah, I mean, I don't fully find it believable. This is not Danielle's fault. I don't find it fully believable that she would be interested in Michael necessarily, but I guess by the end their chemistry is kind of nice, and there's like actually a sweet romance. I think I wrote like, oh, this scene's actually kind of sweet when they're like talking and connecting.
Do you think she's connecting to James Dean? Because she has posters of James Dean on her wall in her bedroom.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And like, well, that was interesting too, where she's like, I don't read Cosmo, and then she is reading Cosmo and
Yeah.
like doing facial stuff. Like, I wouldn't have minded if she just like committed to the nerd thing and like she just really wasn't someone who read Cosmo,
And the funny thing is, she is more of the nerd in real life, which you'll find out next week. So,
yeah. But no, her performance was great. I'd say there were no performances in the movie that I thought were like, oh gosh, this is like glaringly not working.
Yeah, and it was nice to see Raphael not go into the deep dive of a negative antagonist. He kind of redeems himself at the end. But Dustin, how about you? What are your thoughts about Danielle von Zernick? We didn't really talk a lot about her.
No, sorry, Danielle. We're going to talk about you now. I think, I loved the sort of the cute back and forth with them calling each other by their last names.
Yeah.
Where he's calling her Sawyer and she's saying, my name is Ellie. And then she's calling him Harlan the whole time. And, and at the end of the date, he's like, my name's Michael. And I thought that was very sweet. And she is set up as kind of being in the nerd group. And of course, we know in the 80s, like that was clearly defined by glasses, a pocket protector, and a strange laugh.
Right.
You had to have that. Right?
and a retainer, which Ellie has. Yep.
That was sweet, though.
Got to have some kind of tooth, braces or retainer or something. But that's right. That's just what it was. And she's able to kind of pivot out of that a little bit. Whereas like Raphael as Sherman is he's just stuck in that even when he's, hiring the bullies to sabotage Michael or, go after them or whatever. But it is, I agree. I think she's probably a little bit underwritten. But their relationship is kind of the strongest, her and Michael. Even though Vinny is there for his boy, but it really is like the two of them who discover this thing together in the military plane graveyard or whatever. Great place for a first date, by the way. Right?
Yeah, apparently that's where I took all my girls back in the day. What? But I was going to say too that he's like the Vinny. For some reason, Romancing the Stone popped in my head. You got Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, and then Danny DeVito is the sidekick. Vinny's the perfect sidekick, constant joking, where Michael's serious and Ellie is kind of fish out of water, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but just go with the flow. And it is interesting to me that the movie poster, she's really dolled up on the movie poster. Like if you look at her, she's got the makeup on, her hair's done, and this she's anything but. And I said this in the interview with Danielle, but I'll say it again. It's really refreshing, I think, in some ways to see that character like maintain integrity throughout, not feel like she has to suddenly go to this place of like, oh, you put on makeup and oh my God, look how beautiful you are. Because they did that back in the day,
Yeah.
Listen, and this is just one point I want to say, because this stood out to me for whatever reason. But Ellie does this kind of ploy to get Michael to ask her out, right? She disables her car slightly and has it sort of break down on the way out of the school exit. And everyone behind her is like honking, like, get out of here, blah, 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 blah. Well, then Michael just drives up alongside her to fix it. And then he's blocking everybody. So why couldn't everybody just have gone around They could have just gone around her. I was like, what's going on? Why are we all honking? So Michael just takes the initiative to just go around to help her face. But I was like, why are we even honking then? Just go around her. She broke down. Like, you can get out. You can still get out. And then they kept having their conversation in front of everybody, blocking them behind for a very long time. And I was like, come on, can we, I know the movie has to have this conversation here, but can we just move it? Can we just move to the side so everyone can get by?
Can we put a montage in here and just speed this up? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dustin, it's sacrilegious, this movie, because it went 95 minutes, I believe. So it's 5 minutes over the limit of a Dustin pick. So that's why it does not get the Dustin approval rating.
No.
Or Lance, for that matter.
Great system.
The Rube Goldberg method does not work. So I'm going to point out one fun fact. Normally with like little fun facts from the year this movie came out and the month we drop this episode in, I usually do 2 or 3. I'm only doing 1 because I kind of went on a deep dive with it. And it was fascinating to me because I didn't know about it. And I'm curious to see if you guys knew about it. In October of '85, Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes premiered on MTV.
Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes with Debbie Harry, Jerry Hall, John Oates, Robin Leach, Dweezil and Moon Zappa, Tama Janowitz, Paulina Poroskova, Sally Kirkland, Tracy Johns, designer Catherine Hammett, the Parachute Club, and a trip to the Pyramid Club.
It aired for 5 episodes. It was a talk show. I mean, it was typical Andy Warhol. It had guests that included Debbie Harry, Rick Ocasek, the Ramones, Grace Jones, Yoko Ono, a plethora of people. And it was Warhol being Warhol. He covered in his first episode, one of the topics was neo-drag. And he talked about the drag scene in New York in 1985. And they showed and interviewed a bunch of drag queens. It's fascinating. And Andy Warhol goes, he says something like, drag is such a down word. It should be an upward. We need to make drag upward if we're talking about drag. And I'm like, yeah. And there was a woman, I'm blanking on her name right now, but she was married to, she's a fashion model, married to Mick Jagger for the longest time. Blonde lady. It'll come to me while we're talking, but she talks about fashion with Andy Warhol. At one point, Andy Warhol is talking to Debbie Harry, and she's wearing a dress based on one of his paintings. And he goes, "Do you want me to sign it?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Where on the cleavage?" She goes, "No, on the leg." And then they cut to him signing her leg, and it's so Andy Warhol. I don't know when it aired at what time on MTV, but MTV put out these episodes. They're approximately 15 minutes long each. Fascinating. Have either of you guys ever heard of Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes? Lance, did you ever hear of this show?
No. This is news to me. Had no idea that Andy Warhol would have done an MTV show.
It's
news.
So wild. I'll put links in our show notes to a couple of the episodes. How about you, Dustin?
No, definitely have never heard of this.
Wild, crazy. Right? And it was so cool. I didn't know about drag until RuPaul. I didn't know about drag until the late 90s, right? I think that's when RuPaul came out with Better Work or whatever. Up until that point, it had just been a parody. It had been, cops dressing up in drag to defeat the bad guy and police academy, whatever, Seeing this is really great representation. It's really a beautiful way. And that's why I got so interested in this, because I'm like, wow, this was so ahead of its time, And it was showing like normal, quote unquote, normal everyday people talking about what they got into drag, what excited them about it and got them into it. Then they were interviewing models, and one model's like, I got into modeling for the money and the clothes, but I'm not stupid. And there's a lot of people that perceive models as being stupid. And I hate that stereotype. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool stuff. And they're playing some really kick-ass music underneath them. That's probably not featured on MTV because it wasn't super popular at the time. Like a groundbreaking series. So anyways, 15 minutes with Andy Warhol.
On YouTube? Did you find episodes?
It is on YouTube. Yeah, I'll put the links in the show notes so everyone can check it out.
Cool.
I highly recommend you check it out. I got to look up her name, Mick Jagger's wife.
I know. It's on the tip of my
Bianca?
brain, too.
No, it's not Bianca.
Jerry Hall.
Jerry Hall. Thank you.
Jerry Hall.
Yeah, and Mick Jagger's ex-wife, Jerry Hall, who I never really heard her talk. Like, I've only seen her in videos and whatnot. And I was like, damn, she's cool too. Like, these people are really funky in a good way. That whole New York scene in the 80s, just wild. But Dustin, they do a segment where they talk to Paulina Poroskova and Sally Kirkland. And for the new movie Anna that had just come out at that time, and I believe Sally Kirkland won the Academy Award for that.
Or was she nominated? No, I think she won.
Yeah. And so they're talking to them about the movie. It's fascinating. They also talk to the lead actress for the movie She's Gotta Have It, Spike Lee's debut film, and so much more. So Andy Warhol's 15 minutes. My God, my science project.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That's great. And my science project.
And Zed Moonstein is in bookstores now. Lance gave you a little 15-second spiel in the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to say it again. You got to go check it out. You got to go buy it. Get the signed copy. Let's flood. Remind us the name of the bookstore again.
Community Bookstore in Park Slope. You can find their website.
Okay, and I'll put that link in the show notes. Yep.
Also, if you can't buy a book right now, just requesting it at your library. If they have it, just put it on hold and get it. Or if they don't have it, request it. That's also a fantastic thing to do and very helpful.
Yeah, and around Halloween time, like Dustin said, if you want to buy 100 copies, if you are in a place financially where you can do so, get 100 copies, get a van with tinted windows, and just drive up and down your road and look for kids. And say, look, I'm trying to break the stereotype.
That's right.
Not everybody in a van is creepy. Doesn't have to be that way.
That's right.
Best way to do it. Best way to do it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, thank you for talking about the book and having me on $2 late fee to talk about that and my science project. And so nice to be here.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure. And Dustin,
for me as well. To be back.
So basically, y'all, I'll get him on if it's a movie that like warms his cockles in some way. And
yeah, there's got to be others.
Warm my cockles.
Warms his chones and cockles.
Well, he will. He will be coming up. I will say really quickly, y'all, we got a stacked month because we've got Danielle Von Zernick coming up. Either before this or right after Stan Bush. I had an interview with Stan Bush.
Great.
Interviewed him for his new album, and he's got some great kind of memories from his time in the 80s to talk about. That's coming up.
I know Stan Bush.
We've got a lot of stuff going on at $2 late fee. 80s Kids Unite as well, and all that good stuff. But having Dustin back, it's literally that blankie that you cuddle up with and you go, it's never gonna change. It's always gonna be there.
Well, the feeling is mutual. Thanks for letting me come back. It would be amazing if you were just like, it's a new show now. We talk about politics and God, and we just don't.
I want to do a show about neo drag now. That's.
Yeah, you should bring that show back, that 15 minutes.
It is
Andy.
wild.
You should resurrect Andy Warhol or become Andy Warhol.
I kind of want to be Andy Warhol now. I saw Bill Hader as Andy Warhol in the Men in Black, the third Men in Black movie, which is actually the best one of all four, believe it or not.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so Lance, you got kids.
I don't believe it.
So Men in Black 1 and 2, not so great. Men in Black 3, fantastic. Men in Black 4, International, not so great. But 3, Josh Brolin plays, the younger version of Tommy Lee Jones. It is fantastic. So anyways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't mean to plug Men in Black, but Bill Hader plays Andy Warhol in Men in Black 3, and he's hilarious. So
that's great. That's great.
So I will close with this line from Vinny, aka Fisher Stevens. I'm cool. You're cool. We're cool. Thank you. Good night.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
That's perfect.
So, you're cool. I'm cool. We're cool. Thank you. Good night.
Oh, listen, I just wanted to say goodbye and remind you that the good guys always win, even in the 80s.